Hey everybody, welcome back to the final episode of Let's Play Undertale. And yes, I said the final episode. I'm scrapping the bonus video. I'm sorry. I got things to talk about in this video. Hey, you've been busy, huh? So, I've got a question for you. Do you think even the worst person can change? That everybody can be a good person if they just try? Alright. Well, here's a better question. Do you want to have a bad time? Because if you take another step forward, you are really not gonna like what happens next. Well, sorry, old lady. This is why I never make promises. Okay. You may notice the Streamwriter logos on the side. I'm keeping those in because I want to bring attention to this. Just this. Oh my god. I don't know what happened in my Let's Play. I don't know why it happened in my Let's Play. I'm good at this boss whenever I'm playing alone. I'm good at this boss when I am trying to speedrun the game. Or as what I call speedrun, it's not really a speedrun. I'm good when I record it for Streamwriters. But as soon as the microphone came on my channel, and I started recording my video, oh, I guess I have to start sucking the suck now. Because 2.5 hours. I have my limits. Alright, I will play hard-ass games. Golden Fantasia, Immaterial and Missing Power. For fuck's sakes, I played a game called So You Have No Legs, which was a very bad Flash game with broken controls. But there's a point when I'm recording that no, I can't do this anymore. I have a life. I have my own things to do. I have grocery shopping. I have taxes to do. Okay, well, not the time of this video, but you get what I mean. Like, oh my god, 2.5 hours on one boss fight. I don't even think I play video games as much as I did when I was a kid. I don't think I could get through a full, a full session of a video game, much less anymore. Recording is usually the longest I play video games, unless I have someone to talk to on the other end. This was alone in my closet. I was starting to go loopy by the end of this. I was just here with Sans, and no one else. Like, this was my life right now, is just this guy. And the problem with Sans, the huge problem with this fight, is what I've been talking about since the very beginning of the Genocide route. Sans comes out of left field. There's no build-up to the difficulty that is Sans' boss fight. Throughout the entire game, especially if you play the Pacifist run, you're used to the game holding your hand. I mean, for crying out loud, in the Azrael fight, the game wouldn't allow you to die. Like, going from that final boss to this guy? Like, it's such a dramatic change that I feel like it was unwarranted. Like, I feel like I missed 5 bosses leading up to this. Which is why, when I started the Genocide route, I mentioned a workaround that could have been used. Toby Fox, instead of just having the Mega Death Boss, could have built up the difficulty of the game, getting us slowly towards Sans' level, having Undying be the midway point on this. Like I said, you could have had the monsters progressively tier up, and eventually you fight, 2 nightmares or 3 final froggets, something that makes you dodge and weave and actually, play the game. But instead, Sans is just way too hard in a game that is way too easy. I mean, let's actually sit down and be honest here, everyone. Undertale is easy when you play anything but Genocide. Once you play Genocide, for some reason, it's just impossibly hard. It's like going from easy to lunatic on Touhou. You can't just skip all the stages between. You have to progressively get up there. But anyways, in terms of Sans as a boss fight, it's a really cool boss fight. To have someone who's been mentoring you throughout the pacifist run, someone who's a bit mysterious, and all of a sudden, you know, it's just very unassuming. I mean, if you read the description, it's like, oh, the easiest enemy only has 1 HP. You know, it's very cool to have a boss fight like this. And the fact that Sans, based on the dialogue here, knows about your time skipping and time jumping, it's a really interesting concept for a boss fight, and I do love that, as well as the music that plays during this. It's just the difficulty of the boss fight is unwarranted in this game. It's like playing through The Legend of Zelda and then suddenly... Oh, hey, I showed this off. Suddenly playing Dark Souls. Like, you can't go from 1 to 11 in the span of 2 seconds. You gotta give us a chance. This boss fight, it irks me at how difficult it all suddenly becomes. The fact that there's no real... I mean, the fact that there's a troll here is great, but other than that, the fact that the boss fight itself is just unrelentingly hard to a gaming audience that may not have played Touhou that much, or may not have played games like Bullet Hells, and instead, you know, play games like Undertale or Mother, honestly, or any other RPG that all of a sudden have this boss fight that is just mercilessly hard like this. I feel that Toby Fox made a misstep with this boss fight. You look frustrated about something. Oh boy. Then I remember he does this on the second one. He just, like, goes immediately into this. And then he talk, if you... I don't remember if he says this later. He has different dialogue depending on what you do. Like, at one point he says, man, you look pissed. I think he would have said that if I spared him on anything other than the first boss fight. Because if it was third and onward, he probably would have mentioned something like that. But, I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm alone on this, that Sans is just way too hard for Undertale. Like, I get having a very hard boss, but there should have been more bosses that were like this, and not just Sans, because it just feels unwarranted by that point. So, if you're wondering how far I actually got, I got to his last attack every single time. In turn, like 5 or 6 times, I kept on getting to his last attack, and the guy just, I almost got it like 3 or 4 times. I swear I almost had a heart attack about 8 times during the whole thing. But no, you know, I got through I did really good in my actual recording. But for some reason, I just could not dodge the freaking last attack. And, I'm just complaining in this boss fight, and I understand that a lot of people may not share my sentiments. There are people that I know, there are friends that I know that do not share my, they don't share my insight as to making the Genocide run easier because it's supposed to be a punishment for you, the player. And I understand it when it comes to that. Not everyone's going to agree with me. I just, from a gameplay perspective, I just feel like Sans was totally unfair in all the wrong ways. All the wrong ways. Is it the hardest boss fight I've done? No. No, Sans is not the hardest boss fight I've done. It's just other games where I had harder boss fights, they had fights that were easier than the main story of Undertale, is what I'm getting at, too. I don't immediately go from 10 to from 1 to 11. I go from like a 6 or 7 to an 11, if you catch my drift on that. Wow, I sucked the suck back then, too. Like, I lost count of how many times I died here. I don't remember if I did this. No, I had to have done this part with the controller. I wouldn't have been able to do that right there with the keyboard. I don't play games on a keyboard. That's one of my policies. I love the feel of a controller. So I typically don't do games with the keyboard. How that hit me, I will never know. It seems that I died a lot back in the Stream Riders era. Which we can still do, it's just... Yeah, so... So those were all the times I actually died, too. If I remember. I don't remember. I could be wrong. So this time, I actually survived this. So when I played in my Let's Play, I tried to get past this, and it's not like I'm bad at games like this. I played Battletoads, for crying out loud. And I was fine throughout all of this, and then this part right here, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I just kept on dying. But, what happened happened. I wanted this fight to be epic, but most of this was complaining. I apologize for that. I just need to get this off my chest. It's just... I want to be done with this game and move on to something else. Undertale, don't get me wrong, it's a good... It's a good story game. The pacifist and the neutral routes are good. And did my... For some reason the volume was down. I don't know if that'll catch up in the recording. If so, I apologize. I don't remember how I recorded this. Obviously, my technology has improved since Stream Riders, so this may be a little bit archaic from the video side. I'm just happy that the series is over and that I did it. I didn't want this to be another Mother 3 where I was done with it and then that's it. So, granted, Mother 3 even Mother 3 did not go this far. Like, Mother 3 had its boss. The stupid generator guy, you get after you get PK Flash in Mother 3. Oh my god, that is like one of the worst fights in the whole game. But even then, like, we get built up to it, is what I'm saying. I just love how he is trolling us through the gameplay of the game. That's actually a brilliant move for someone like Sans. I do love this boss fight in terms of stuff like this. I wish if it's gonna be this hard, I wish the game would have brought me up to this point, or I wish it wouldn't have been as hard to try and, you know, be an Undertale boss fight and not a freaking Toho Ultra version boss fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, Undertale is nowhere near as hard as Toho. Are you kidding me? Like, I wish Undertale was... I wish Toho was as hard as Undertale sometimes. But that's it for the boss fight. If you guys know how the boss fight goes, we're just basically playing the waiting game. Cause if you notice his face, he is falling asleep. We have to wait until he falls asleep to actually do anything. And if we touch the left side of the screen, we reset him. We have to wait until he actually falls asleep. Which is now. Those Z's are your indication for moving the box. Gotta get towards fight. Gotta beat that ass. I do love the charm of this game. Even in the Genocide route, Toby Fox is able to show off his charm, and I do appreciate something like that. It's definitely nice, if you ask me. It's just, there are some things, man, that I don't get. One of the interesting things about Sans that's never really explained and only up to interpretation, Sans is the only character in the whole game that bleeds. Yeah, it's kind of odd with characters turning to dust to have him bleed. It makes a lot of people think that he's human because humans would bleed, honestly. But that being said, alright, let me put it to you like this. This is a world where we don't really know too much of what's going on, per se. Like, we have a fantasy world where monsters turn into dust. Blood is never really brought up, and we never really see from a monster's perspective whether or not we actually bleed either. So that's really all up to interpretation. Do I think Sans is a human? No, not really. I just think he's a more powerful monster. Or maybe he's something other than a monster. Do I care? Not after that fight. Not really. So there are some interesting details about the end of Genocide right here. So, interestingly enough, he doesn't recognize us as a human. Like, we're so far gone. Like, this is actually pretty creepy and scary. Like, past the Sans fight, now that we've gotten past that, the fact that we're going around murdering people like this and just completely annihilate this guy? Like, oh my god. And even this part's even creepier too, in my opinion. The fact that Flowey just turns on the king and tries to bargain with you? Like, it's very interesting how we're just completely... I don't even know if we're evil anymore. We're just destruction. And at the end of it all, we finally meet the true mastermind behind all of this. Greetings. I am Nate. This is your character that you've actually been playing as. This creeped the shit out of me. Like, outright creeped the shit out of me on this. Your soul is a stolen soul. Your body is a stolen body. And this character's official name is Chara, which is actually a shortened word of the word character. It's really creepy. So, he came back. He was the one who Flowey, and by extension Azriel, was talking to in the tapes, the one who had the idea, the one that hated humanity. And even if you play through True Pacifist, from the conversations you have with Azrael, you find out that you were always the bad guy. No matter how good you are, you're playing as the bad guy anytime. It's almost like, I want to say it's almost as clever as the Witch's House. Except the Witch's House was left up to interpretation, and when you got the true end, it used visuals more than it used words. This one uses words more. And that is the video. Well, that was a very creepy end to the series. If I do decide to come back and do the bonus video, it'll definitely be later. I just want to go ahead and move on to Golden Fantasia. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching this video and for sticking with me throughout all this. So until then, guys, I'll see you guys in Golden Fantasia.